Hi there, I will be doing an evaluation of the Decentralizing K through 12 Education article to determine if it's an accurate and good source to use. So I'm going to start off with the SIFT plan, which is I'm going to stop and I'm going to ask myself, do I know anything about the source and what it's talking about and who the authors are and how current the publication is. So I've personally never heard of the Cato Institute, but I'm going to do a quick Google search of both of these names. There are links on the site to their bios within the site, but I wanted to do an outside search to ensure that this is not just like that I'm not using this one source. So immediately they popped up, both authors did. They have written other books, the school choice voucher, get out of jail card. They've definitely talked about education in a more serious matter before in an academic setting, such as being in other publications. Again, here's the link to the Cato Institute. So they are definitely qualified. This author is qualified by having other published works. Next, I looked up Neil P. McCluskey, who's the other author, and I'd clicked ahead a couple times, but this led me to his other publication, his book, Feds in the Classroom, How Big Government Corrupts, Cripples, and Compromises American Education. So we can definitely see his leaning politically through this title, and I think that's something that is important to take into account as we go through our actual article. But I do think that after my first kind of authorship, they do both have experience in writing and in an academic setting. They've been published in their own books, their own publications, and also have been seen as editors. So I think that they definitely do have reputable sources to back them up. So now as I'm going to go through the article, it's important to know that they straight off the bat have a perspective that is biased. The source is biased because they're going through what they should do. So it's Congress should, they should. I think this also just is like, it's not, they're going to include facts, but it's still an argument towards what they should be doing. I think before we keep going, another thing to take into account that's super important is the currency of it. Is the source current enough? Yes. September 15th, 2020, Pandemics and Policy. It is at about a timeline that is appropriate for this article to be published considering the contents of it. So as we go through the article, it kind of explains each thing that they should be doing. For example, homeschooling has had a huge moment with COVID-19, and it keeps going through different aspects of it. Another thing that they do that helps their article is that they go on to cite other sources and to cite what other schools and things have said about it, which makes their source more accurate. But the purpose, you can keep the Every Student Succeeds Act. They reference a lot of many other articles, acts, school policies, government policies. However, the purpose of it is to make an argument. They conclude, again, I think the conclusion is really important because it says kind of what they're arguing is that basically much of the American education system struggled to respond to COVID-19, faltering for weeks or more, just kind of making their argument. So I think that this is kind of like they're saying that the government needs to make a change, and I think the purpose is an argument.